Now, I'm 100% certain that you guys have had these conversations that go something like this. Hey, how are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you? I'm not bad, just doing X, Y, Z. And then the conversation slowly fizzles away. So you start talking about something stupid like the weather. Honestly, I don't blame you for having these conversations. We've been socialized into always having perfect manners, always using the generic conversation tips, and it's led to most of our conversations when we meet new people to be drier than a chicken sandwich with no sauce. Honestly, if school taught you how to label effectively, use the conversational menu, and use the cheeky monkey principle, I guarantee you'd be the Cristiano Ronaldo of social situations right now. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. I'm gonna make sure your conversations are never boring ever again. So first off, we need to encourage people to tell a story and not the news. An example of someone telling the news will be, oh, I study maths. Oh, I'm just on my summer holidays. Oh yeah, I just went to the park today and I went to the gym and then I came back and then I ate dinner. That is a plain statement. And although sometimes we need to have our generic conversations, I find that stuff so boring. And other people find it boring if you just speak like an interviewer. So we need to use labeling. What labeling practically is saying something like it seems like, it looks like, or it sounds like. And this will allow them to tap into an emotion and maybe tell a story or prove themselves to you. But before we get into labeling, I want you to know that generic conversations are fine sometimes. Just getting to know someone, say you're in the gym or you're at the shop, just asking some a couple of questions, that's fine. But this is the next level. This is where you really start to build the connection and then either attract them to you or attract yourself to them. So I'm gonna give you a little example now. The other week I was in this crystal shop. Don't ask me why I was in a crystal shop, alright? But I was in this crystal shop with my friend Lewis. We were walking around. Lewis was getting something for his Indian friend, and I was looking at the incense sticks. So I found one that had dragon's blood in it, and I thought it was pretty cool. Then there was these two really beautiful girls right at the center. They were the shop assistants. So me and Lewis started talking to them, and we started to realize that they didn't even know anything about crystals. So we were joking around that for a bit. Then I turned to the blonde one. She had blue eyes. She was really pretty. Then I said to her, so it seems like you're not a crystal spiritual girl then? And then she laughed. Then she started to talk for ages. Then I was just sat there listening to her, and it was a great conversation. I said it seems like, so I used the label, and now she has so much to say based off that. So instead of me saying, do you like crystals? She could be like, yeah, or no, or maybe. Then if I say it seems like you're this type of person, she's gonna maybe tell me a story. It's tapping into emotion, so she's gonna be more invested in the conversation. So what she ended up saying was, not really. Yeah, she started laughing, obviously. And then she was saying she meditates to Buddha music sometimes. She doesn't really believe in the crystal healing nonsense. Then she told me a funny story from something that happened in the shop. So based off that, I can take the conversation wherever I want with the conversational menu, which I'm going to discuss just in a minute. I'm going to give you some more examples of labeling first. So say you're in the gym, you're working out, you see a guy with like really big muscles, like really big biceps like mine. You see a guy with big muscles, though, so you go up to him, you're speaking to him for a bit, generic conversations, obviously. And as you get to know him, you'd be like, it seems like you're a professional at this then. Then he's going to prove himself to the label or not to the label. So be like, yeah, thank you, man. I've been training for about 10 years. You know, I tore my calf the other year, so I used to play football and I did MMA. Now I'm just more focused on bodybuilding. Do you notice how he said so much instead of just giving me back statements? Because I tapped into the emotional side by using a label, he can just tell me whatever he wants, and then we can have a great conversation based off that. So once the label has been dropped, we need to be aware because they're basically laying out their conversational menu. A conversational menu is simply, so say the crystal girl said, she was talking about, in one sentence, she said about meditation and Buddha music, a story about the person in the shop, and how she doesn't believe in the crystal healing bullshit. So that is basically the conversational menu laid out for me. So I want you to imagine it like a pizza menu. You see margarita, pepperoni, then you choose which one you want. You choose what taste you want to have. Now she's laid out some little hints on what I can talk about. So the Buddha meditation thing, this thing, this thing. So then I could pick on the Buddha meditation thing. I could be like, I actually meditate sometimes, but yeah, I don't really believe in that crystal healing nonsense either. I think it's just full of people that need to cope with their life or something like that. Sorry, that's a bit specific. But I can choose where we want to take the conversation. So I have power over the conversation and I can choose whether it's flirtatious, whether it's boring, whether it's fun and exciting, whether it's romantic. I can choose based off what she said. It's basically listening to what they're saying and then just picking out something, then talking about it. Another one we can do is, so say with the guy in the gym, he told me he used to play football, he injured himself, he used to do MMA, but now he's just focused on bodybuilding more time. There's so much stuff I can talk about here. Literally just from the football thing. I could be like, did you watch the World Cup? Did you watch the Euros? What's your favourite football team? Then I could maybe tell him a story, say, look, I went to watch Barcelona play when I was younger. Or I used to go to the local town to play football. I used to play Sunday league football. My brother likes football. Anything. You could talk for days about that. Honestly, if I put this into ChatGPT, there's probably a million different things you can say just off that. So now we know how to let other people open up their conversational menu and how we can pick their conversational menu to make the conversation more interesting. But there's one thing I missed out. It's good to be interested in others and talk about others, but we need to actually talk about ourselves as well, because we hold value to ourselves, right? We need to be engaging. We need to be interesting as well. So that's where we open up our side of the conversational menu. So when someone asks you a question like, what are you doing this summer? A generic answer would be, I just finished A-levels and I'm going on holiday with my mum and I'm just working at the moment. You see, based off that, you don't really feel any emotion. You could maybe tap into some stuff, but it won't be as easy and it'll keep the conversation quite boring. Instead, you could say, I just finished A-levels, man, it was tough. I was finished The Matrix, now it's over. But now I'm working on building a YouTube channel so I can help people with their social skills. And then I'm going on holiday with my mum, so I'm trying to speak Spanish. Do you speak Spanish, by the way? Or something like that. And then based off that, I've got so much stuff in the conversational menu that they can pick out from. Okay, they could talk, so from the top of the menu, I talked about A-levels, then I showed an emotion. I described the A-levels with, oh, I don't really like A-levels. So they might agree with me on that. They might disagree with me on that because I put an emotion out there. I talked about how I'm building a YouTube channel. They might think, oh, this guy might be quite motivated. He might be a bit different out of the box. I like YouTube as well. What's his YouTube channel? What social stuff does he do? How long have you been doing that for? What made you want to start it? I could talk about Spanish. Oh, my mum actually speaks Spanish as well. There's so many different things to talk about. It's insane. But you need to give compelling answers. You can't just give, yeah, I'm doing studying and I'm doing maths in university. It's boring, bro. Say if you're doing maths, maybe. Say, look, I'm currently working out how to discover the Pythagoras theorem of the universe. I don't know. I'm not mathematic. Linking to the conversational menu that we open for ourselves, we need to make sure we're providing emotion in it and telling stories and less statements. Obviously, sometimes you're going to give statements, but we want to dive towards the stories because humans make decisions emotionally. So whether they get attracted to you or not, it's based on emotion, not really just plain statements. So I was at the dinner table last night with my mum and we were eating chicken. She passed me the salad. Obviously, I ignored it. Then she just hit me with the typical, hey, how did your day go, Armani? And I was like, Mum, I got punched in the ribs. And she was like, punch in the ribs? What? And I was like, I was sparring with Jason at the boxing club and we filmed a YouTube video about it. But it was actually such a humbling experience because I've never got hit in the face like that before. Do you notice just then how I told a little story? It was tiny. It doesn't have to be a Cinderella fairy tale story. Once upon a time, Prince Charming was on the go to kill this person. You can just tell little snippets. And based off my conversational menu with my mum then, she could ask me about the sparring, about the YouTube channel, about how my friend Jason is. It's endless. So you know how to label. You know how to open up your own conversational menu and for others to do theirs, to encourage them to tell stories with emotion, to encourage you to tell stories with emotion. What next? Now, this is where it gets fun. It's called flirting, or basically being a cheeky monkey. And the thing is, most people associate flirting with speaking to girls, like flirt with a girl, get a number, etc., etc. But after some analysis, I've realized I flirt with everyone, not in a gay way. All right, I'm not gonna redirect you to some gay dating website unless you swing that way. But I mean, just being more playful in conversations and a bit less serious. But before I go into this, I'll give you another disclaimer. Being a cheeky monkey has a time and place, right? Obviously, maybe it's gonna be better when you're on a date and when you're maybe at the shop or you're at the park or at the gym or hang out with your friends or at the dinner table. But maybe when an authority figure like someone in school or someone in work trying to speak to you, maybe it might not work as much then. But obviously, it depends on your situation. You know best in that sense. So one way I think I do this really well, just being playful or flirty or whatever, is just speaking about what's on my mind. And I know it can sound daunting, just speaking whatever's on your mind, because sometimes we get some intrusive thoughts. But I don't mean like saying some crazy racist, homophobic, sexist, out of pocket thing. But sometimes we need to take a risk, because if you don't take a risk in these situations, in these social situations, you're not going to know what works. You're not going to know what doesn't work. So honestly, just forget the what will other people think of me and just try it. See what happens. And then what your brain will do is, okay, maybe this one works a bit, maybe this one doesn't. Then they'll start to readjust. So every time you go into the social situations, you have more confidence because you know what works and doesn't work. So I was in the shop 2 days ago buying yogurt and eggs for the muscles. So I was walking from the eggs towards the cash point to pay for my food. But as I was walking, there was water trickling all behind me, but I wasn't aware of this. So as I got to the cash point, I looked up at the two ladies, and they looked at me like I'd done something wrong. So I looked behind me, and I realized my bag was leaking because I had this water bottle that didn't close properly, so it was dripping everywhere. Then immediately I said to them, "Ladies, it's not what it thinks. I didn't wee myself, all right?" And it was the first thing that came to my head, but they both burst out laughing, and then they called up a manager to go wipe it up for me. Then I asked the lady at the counter, "Is this the first time this happened?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, so I'm a new world record holder. I like that." And then she laughed as well. And everyone else in the queue was like having a good time. They were enjoying it. They were laughing. And it was a good conversation. It was a good moment. But you notice how that was just so random what I said. You're probably looking at me thinking, what is this guy on about? Why is he talking about the world record thing? Because I said what's on my mind. And when you say what's on your mind, it makes you appear more confident. It makes you more authentic, I guess. You know, like I said just above, I made like a gay joke with a gay dating website. That just came to my mind, so I said it, and I think it went well. But in terms of humor and flirting and stuff, I literally, as corny as it sounds, just be yourself. You know best. You know what like works with humor. You've got a different sense of humor to me, so please just try it out yourself and see what works. I could give you 101 different ways on how to be funny, but it's not you, is it? It's not authentic to yourself. So go out there and try it. Also, I went to the shop yesterday to post a parcel, and then the lady was like, "Can you sign here, please?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Then I did a little random squiggle. I was like, "These signatures are so pointless. There's absolutely no point in them." And then she looked at me. She said, "So you're a scammer then, huh?" And I looked at her back. I was like, "I'm a scammer. You're calling me a scammer because I'm Indian. You're calling me a scammer." And then we both burst out into laughter. And that all came just from saying what was on my mind, even though it was a little bit random. And then one more example of saying what's on my mind, because I'm not going to give you exactly what to say because that wouldn't be authentic to you, would it? I'm just going to give you some of my experiences. I was on my electric scooter waiting at the traffic lights. I was waiting for the red light to turn green, and this old lady pulled up next to me on her old lady bike. I looked over to her, then I saw her, there was a hill in front of us. So then I said to her, "Hey, do you want to do a race down the hill?" She looked at me and glanced and smiled and was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So as the light turned from red to amber to green, I shot off ahead of her, and I was smoking her by at least like 15 seconds. But towards the middle end of the hill, she came racing down. I'm telling you, it was like Mario Kart. She came racing down like this, like she was in like an Olympic cycling thing, and she swooped past me. And then she was like, "Have an amazing day." I was like, "You too, love, take care." And that was just such a fun interaction. Just with that lady, it was just really fun because it was just something that was in my mind, a random thing, and it probably made her day, and it made me smile too. And she was quite fit as well. Not like fit in the attractive way. I mean like fit in terms of, because she was like 60. I'm not attracted to 60-year-old ladies. No, I'm not attracted to 60-year-old ladies. And then she was quite fit in the sense that like cycling fast, she was pretty good at that. And then in terms of like flirting and another way to be more humorous, what I've been doing recently is kind of disagreeing with what people are saying. I kind of feel like this works better with girls, but I do it with guys sometimes as well, and it kind of just like annoys them a little bit, and it's funny to do. So say like, I would say someone says that their favourite football team's Arsenal, say, "You know what, I hate Arsenal. I think they're terrible, and I think Manchester United is so much better." Then it's a little fun, playful conversation instead of saying, "Yeah, I like Arsenal too." Because I realise there's lots of people that just agree with what people say. And if you agree with what people say, you're going to sound like the majority of people. So if you say something a bit that's different, a bit out of pocket, a bit that disagrees with the other person, you're going to stand out and they're going to be like, oh, this person's actually interesting. They're not just being a sheep and nodding and saying yes all the time. I think I was in the gym 2 days ago. I was filming a gym vlog. And then I got this lady to film it for me. And then we started speaking after. And she was saying how she was training legs today. And she absolutely hates it. Then I looked up at her. She was at my height. I looked across at her and I was like, a girl that hates training legs, surely that's not right. That's actually using the labeling principle from before. But after we started to speak, she was like, so do you like training legs? And I was like, yes, I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. Then she looked at me like I was some sort of clown or something. Honestly, I don't really like training legs, but I thought it was just funny in the moment just to disagree with her. And then I got her Instagram. We're going to do a session soon, but she hasn't got back to me on Instagram, but it is what it is. So to wrap it up, encourage them to open up their conversational menu by using labeling. It seems like, it sounds like, it looks like, etc. And then once they've opened up that conversational menu, just pick out some stuff to talk about. Then you're off. That's an interesting conversation. And then in terms of us, attracting people to us, making people interested in us, we need to give answers or speak with emotion, speak in terms of stories, open our conversational menu, and they'll say something about the conversational menu, and boom, you're off. And then be a cheeky monkey. Try it out. It's fun, trust me. Be a bit flirtatious, maybe romantic, maybe a bit cheeky, maybe disagree with someone, say something a bit out of pocket, say a little joke, see what happens. You'll get some good reactions. And then even if it doesn't go well, it's fine. You learn from it. It's an experience. So most people recommend you books at the end of videos. But all I recommend you guys to do is go out there and try this stuff out. Take one principle, maybe two, and slowly start to put it in place. And I'll tell you one thing, your conversations will become interesting so quickly because nobody actually takes care to really analyze and take accountability for their social situation. They don't actually take time to improve their social skills. So you're going to actually see progress quickly as long as you're taking action. So go to the shop, go to the gym, go to the cafe, go to the bar, go to the restaurant, go downstairs at the dinner table, go speak to your brother, go speak to your mum, go to school, go to work, and try it out. And you'll see results. So the next video is going to be, if you want a little sneak peek, is going to be how to make people interested in you. And another one is going to be how to become more sociable. So these are going to be amazing videos. I'm looking forward to filming these, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios. Watcha!